was built from pain. They laughed and he listened. He is the storm they created and the reckoning they never saw coming.
I will make them pay for mocking me. I remember every laugh, every look, every whisper they thought I couldn't hear. They mocked me like I was entertainment, like I was a joke with legs, like my existence was something to point at and smirk. They thought I was weak, powerless, forgettable. But I wasn't. I was simply quiet. I was calculating. I was storing every slight in a part of me that never forgets. Like a furnace fed with insult after insult, the fire inside me only grew hotter, brighter, hungrier. They thought I was breaking down, but I was breaking through. They wanted to see me shattered, on my knees, crawling in humiliation. But I don't kneel, not to them, not to anyone. I was underestimated. That was their first mistake. Treated like background noise, ignored like static. But even silence can grow teeth. Even shadows can strike. I don't forget the faces, the voices, the ones who sneered when I struggled, who turned pain into punchlines, who mistook my patience for weakness. They'll learn now, because I'm not what I was. I've changed. Pain did that. Mockery did that. They called me names, and each one became armor. They pointed fingers, and each one became fuel. I was the outcast, the throwaway, the freak. Now I'm the reckoning. I don't want sympathy. I don't need anyone to understand. This isn't about justice. This is about memory. About never letting the world forget who they laughed at, who they dismissed, who they thought would never rise. And now, I rise. But not like a hero. Not with fanfare. I rise like smoke after fire. Quiet, thick, choking. I rise like ash, like ruin, like the consequence of everything they thought had no consequence. I have no mercy left. They burned it out of me. I have no tears. I've cried them all. What I have now is purpose. They will see the monster they mocked become something else entirely. Something that can't be mocked. Something they can't control. They built this version of me. Every smirk they threw, a brick. Every joke at my expense, a nail. Now I'm a fortress, cold, steel-hearted, unbreakable. I will make them pay. Not with screams, not with chaos. That's too easy, too loud. I'll make them pay with silence. With the weight of everything I've become pressing down on their fragile illusions. Because now I am their mirror. And when they look at me, they'll see what they created. They laughed when I failed. So I will succeed in ways they never imagined. I will climb past every ceiling they set for me. I'll tear down every wall they hid behind. I'll turn every no into a door, and every rejection into a throne. I am not chasing revenge. I am revenge. My presence will be a reminder. My success will sting like salt on their wounds. They'll remember every word they said, because I will embody the contradiction of it all. Everything they said I couldn't be, I'll become, and more. And I won't hide. I won't shrink to make them comfortable. Let them feel the discomfort. Let them taste the bitterness of being wrong. I am the storm they laughed at before the sky broke open. I am the winter they mocked before the first frost turned everything to ice. I am the one they thought couldn't survive, until I stopped surviving and started dominating. This isn't personal anymore. This is legacy. They made a mistake. They thought I'd stay buried. They forgot bones don't rot when the soul refuses to die. I've been reborn in silence, in rage, in clarity. I no longer need to explain myself. I am the explanation. They'll ask each other, how did this happen? And they'll never admit the answers themselves. I didn't become this in spite of them. I became this because of them. Let that echo. Let it haunt. Let it sit in the back of their minds, chewing at the edges of their pride. They thought they could mock me into oblivion, but I turned their mockery into a forge. And now I am forged, hard, unbending, relentless. Every time I was told I wasn't enough, I added another layer. Every laugh aimed at me became another scar I wear like medals. I carry all of it with me. Every doubt, every slight, every you can't. And now I walk with thunder in my chest. I speak with lightning on my tongue. I look them in the eye, and I don't flinch, because I know who I am. I am what rises when the world tries to crush a soul and fails. I am the answer to every time they thought I was finished. Let them remember me when they sleep. Let them hear my name like a siren in the dark. Let them wish they had shown kindness instead of cruelty. But it's too late for that. I'm not seeking peace. I'm bringing judgment, not because I want to hurt them, but because they need to feel it. They need to feel the weight of their own actions coming back to them. I'm done carrying it for them. The shame is theirs now. The fear is theirs now. The reckoning is theirs now. I've stepped out of the ashes, and I didn't come back to forgive. I came back to make them remember. They mocked a storm they couldn't see. Now they'll drown in it.
He doesn't speak to be heard. He exists to be felt. Now he watches, and they crumble, knowing he'll never need to speak again.
I used to think silence was weakness. I thought if I didn't explain myself, defend myself, scream until my throat tore open, they'd never understand. But I get it now. I finally understand the power of saying nothing. Silence isn't surrender. It's a storm that brews behind still eyes. It's fire, trapped in a frozen stare. And when I stopped speaking, when I stopped offering explanations, apologies or pleas, I watched them break, one by one, crumbling like glass beneath the weight of truth. They could no longer dodge. I used to beg for peace, for understanding. I used to explain my heart like it was some broken machine that needed constant fixing, but all it did was feed them. My vulnerability was a feast. Every word I gave was a weapon. They turned their back on me. So I stopped giving. I stopped feeding monsters. I became the silence they feared. Now, they have to sit in the echo of what they did. There's no voice to interrupt their guilt. No soft forgiveness to patch over their shame. Just me, watching, waiting, not moving, not flinching. And they can't handle it. They expected rage. They expected tears. They expected me to break in front of them like I had so many times before. But I didn't. I won't. My silence is louder than every scream I ever gave them. I don't need to announce my pain. I carry it in my eyes like a scar that never fades. I don't need to curse them out or fall to my knees. I just stand still, and that stillness, God, that stillness, it's the most violent thing I've ever done. They squirm now, they question themselves, they replay every moment, wondering which one finally shut me down. Was it the betrayal, the manipulation, the half-hearted apologies? They don't know. And that's the point. They lost access. They lost the right to know. And in that void, they crumble. I watch them try to fill the silence with excuses, jokes, fake kindness. I let it all bounce off me like bullets against steel. They're desperate for a reaction, anything to prove they still matter. But they don't. Not anymore. They used to think control came from volume, from dominance, from putting me on the defensive. But silence flipped the game. Now I'm the one who decides what's worth acknowledging. I'm the one who holds the reins. And the reins are cold, tight, and wrapped around my fist. The same people who once laughed when I cried, who mocked my weakness, who fed on my pain, they can't stand it now that I've gone quiet. They look at me like I'm a ghost, like they buried me and didn't expect me to crawl out stronger. But I did, and I didn't bring my voice with me. I left it behind, buried with the version of me that begged to be loved. They don't know how to handle this version, this cold flame, this silent storm. They look for cracks, but there are none. I've sealed every opening, reinforced every wall, not because I'm hiding, but because I've finally understood. Not everyone deserves access to my soul. I don't need to prove anything, not anymore. They talked, they lied, they spun stories so far from truth it made me dizzy. And now I let them speak. I let them fill the air with nonsense and watch them realize how empty it all sounds when I don't respond. Every lie they tell falls flat. Every justification they spit just boomerangs back and hits them harder, because the truth doesn't need a spokesperson. It just needs time. And time has made me sharp. Time has turned me into something they never expected. A mirror. Not the kind that flatters, not the kind that forgives, the kind that shows them who they really are, the kind they can't look away from, no matter how much it burns. I stand in rooms full of noise, and I say nothing. I let them sweat, let them drown in their own words. I don't blink, I don't bite, I just exist. And somehow, that's the loudest thing I've ever done. I used to think I had to fight to be heard. But silence makes them listen harder. They lean in, hoping to hear something, anything that gives them power again. But there's nothing. Just the sound of their own guilt, their own fear, their own pathetic need to be forgiven. And I'm not interested in forgiveness. Not for them, because forgiveness is a gift. And I no longer give gifts to thieves. They stole from me time, trust, love, peace. And when I finally stopped bleeding for them, when I stitched myself up and stood tall, they didn't know what to do. They thought I was gone. But I'm here. I'm still here. And I'm watching. And that's what they can't stand. The watching. The knowledge that I see them now, truly see them, stripped bare of their masks. And I don't say a word. I don't scream. I don't cry. I just know, and they feel it. In their chest, in their gut, in their spine. like a cold wind creeping in through every crack they tried to seal with lies. I became the thing they feared most, a witness, and not a loud one, not a furious one, a silent one, unshakable, unreachable, untouchable. They crumble under the weight of my quiet. They implode trying to fill the void with noise. But my silence is sacred now. It's my shield, my weapon, my crown, and I wear it well. So let them speak. Let them gossip, whimper, lash out. Let them try to twist the story in their favor. I'll say nothing, and I'll watch them break beneath the pressure of their own unfinished sentences. I am the pause that makes their lies echo. I am the quiet that makes the truth deafening. I am the silence they cannot silence, and I don't have to say a word. They crumble just fine without it.